Yeah, what's also frustrating and annoying, it's become annoying is, just listening to Pedro Grafal because
Mm,
it's the same old thing, and he has a catchphrase. Are you aware of his catchphrase?
I'm
So,
not sure.
being what is this? Let me just pull up the Sox record so I can get this number right. So they have 57 losses. After they
Yeah,
lose, he says pretty much every post game, you know, we just got to flush it and come back tomorrow. So flush
flush
it.
it. I
Yeah.
have heard that. Yes.
Yeah. We just got to flush it and come back tomorrow. So basically, 57 times this year, we have heard that the Sox got to flush it. Well, I think it's about time to flush the season, flush Rick Hahn, Kenny
Oh,
Williams, because I'm not,
wow.
I've lost complete confidence, and I'm not going to blame Rick Hahn for picking the players he picked in those trades. Everyone thought
Well,
they were every G. You ask anyone, you even ask people this year, they said we have confidence the White Sox are still going to win this division. That was back in May because
yeah.
of the talent that is on the field. But it's
Well,
not that talented.
you actually beat me to the punch again. I think it's twice on this podcast. I was actually going to have an impromptu ask hole question for you about Rick Hahn, and I was going to ask first. I was going to ask you, when does Rick Hahn get fired? And I think anyone that's paid attention to how the White Sox organization works is he's not. It might be. I don't see how close to dying Jerry Reinsdorf is gonna flush the whole front office and start over
I
again.
have a reason why Kenny will be there, but Rick may not.
Okay, well that's what I was gonna say. When would you flush Rick Hahn?
I would have flushed Rick and Kenny, but here's what I think is going to happen. I think Rick is said Pedro Grafal was his guy.
Yeah,
Rick also, in a not so direct way, facial expressions, lack of full on support, was probably part of Tony La Russa leaving Jerry Reinsdorf's buddy. Rick
mm,
could possibly be on the hot seat for the first time in his career with the White Sox and Jerry Reinsdorf
well,
because, all right, you got your guy, your guy's Pedro Grafal. We got the team. It's your team.
yeah.
It's go time. And
He's had 11 years as general manager. He is since that 20 beginning of the 2013 season. The White Sox are 133 games below 500,
yeah,
including
I,
today.
he's got to
They
go.
have had one. They've had two winning seasons in that time. One division. You did win the division under Tony La Russa, believe it or not.
Yeah,
As much as
93
we
games, 93 fucking
93.
games too. That's not too shabby, actually.
No, but
The
that's the
first
one
round exit
time
of the playoffs was shabby, but
he's had 11 years, and you're in worse shape now than ever. It feels like. So I could see why you've come to this conclusion.
yeah, I mean,
I'm curious why you think Kenny. This is kind of an about face, because for that decade, any move that I felt like White Sox fans disagreed with or thought was dumb was blamed on Kenny, but anything smart was put on Rick's plate, giving Rick credit for it. So you're kind of doing about face
well, I don't
of
I
what I'm
don't
used to, I guess. But
well, I don't think anything recently like I don't think anything like Kenny Williams has been involved in. I
how do
feel
we
like when
know?
I feel like
We
when
have
they were
no
getting
idea.
I know, I feel like when they were getting those like stupid veteran player trades.
That
Um
felt like Kenny. It felt like things you've seen Kenny do for
yeah, I
years.
saw
So
Kenny do when he was GM. So
there's logic.
he hadn't let up the reins and he was still very much in the press then. He's you barely know he's around at this point, really. I
Well,
mean,
that's just because he
he,
doesn't talk. But I mean, that doesn't mean he's not
yeah,
he's
no,
not
I
involved
know.
in every single decision. In
Uh,
fact, Rick Hahn once said, when people are trying to parse their words and find out who is really making decisions, he's like, "Look, guys, Kenny's my boss. He said that. It's almost like the Godfather thing where they try to get the guy saying he's the boss. I forget how that worked out. It's almost like they caught him somehow saying that. So I don't know if he was trying to put responsibility on Kenny. I think he's intimately involved with every decision still, and yet Jerry can still overrule them both.
Right.
Obviously with the Tony La Russa situation, so it's all nebulous. Maybe by design, maybe by accident, maybe by incompetence. That's how the power structure works. I don't know, but it's clearly not functioning.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I gave Rick more of a pass because of Jerry and purse strings and
Yeah.
not offering big contracts and shit like that. But
Andrew Benintendi is the largest free agent contract you've ever signed, and he
yes,
has one
yes.
home run.
Oh, he does one home run, but he's a fucking banger of a leadoff hitter, 100%. Like
Yeah,
he has more than filled the void that Timmy
but the
presented.
idea that
So
he's your most expensive free
yeah,
agent
I mean,
in
he's making
history is crazy.
$1 million more than Tim this year. It is crazy when you think about it. Like
Yeah.
it's fucking ridiculous. Well, I think it's actually the largest contract just because of the years. Because the
Right,
Sox
but
never, like a
still
per
is.
year basis. Yeah, it's still ridiculous in a
Yeah,
major market. It's fucking comical. But
that's
that's
the
the why
thing.
the Sox are comical. It's just a
That
comical approach to baseball.
major market is the best way to phrase it, because the Sox have never acted like a major market team, much like the Oakland A's never act like a major market team, even though
Yeah.
the Bay Area is incredibly major market. It's obvious what's happening there.
I
So
mean, when Oakland's good, do they sell out? Because here's the thing, like
yeah.
at the same time, if you're
Well, they sell
running,
out when
if
they
you,
put tarps over the upper deck. That was kind of the thing,
but,
but because
but
that's a football stadium. So
like part of the reason the Sox don't function like a major market team, if you're running it like a business and we all know the owners are rich. So I'm just saying if you've got a business model that says you need to be pulling X in at the box office, X in concessions, and we're going to invest X amount of money because they're all fucking greedy and that's what they do. So I'm just bringing the reality of the situation. The White Sox probably never fucking meet those numbers. And the fan base, even when they are good, I'll just throw this out there. They were when I bought season tickets in 2005, I bought season tickets. They were available. I bought
yeah.
the whole second half of the year and had full season tickets for the next 2 years with a group of people, with two other people. And I was able to do that even though they had a 10-game lead, I think, at that point in the division, at least a 7-game lead in the division. No one was going to
Here's
the ballpark. I went and saw Bobby Jenks come out of the bullpen for the first time against the Dodgers, I believe it was, and there's like 22,000 people there. So
here's another asshole question along those same lines. Would people be showing up? Would it be difficult to get a season ticket if they had signed somebody like, say, Bryce Harper or Manny Machado? If they had brought in those stars that other teams have, that literally make their own salary because attendance rises that much and merchandise sales and everything else, they get on the map. It's also
not if they don't
the
win. They have to
well,
win. And then even when they do win, it's still not sellouts. It's like, it's like
it was sold out.
32,000 people.
Yeah, it was sold out in 2006 and 7, but
Well,
I
6. Yeah, 7
okay.
was a little bit up and down, but yeah.
So I don't know. That just popped into my head
No,
because I've heard other.
that's a valid point, but like this fan base, even when they've had bigger names in different eras on the field, they still never sold out consistently. And
Uh,
and
give,
and when White Sox complain and they say, and I've been arguing this for years now on this podcast, like don't go to games. You already don't go to games, so you're not gonna. And we all know it doesn't make a difference anyway because of the collective bargaining. So but
but like you said, they have to win, and that's valid. I think I admire that
Well, it
kind of
is valid,
in
but
Sox
then,
fans
but your team
psyche. But
on the, sorry, go ahead. I apologize.
well, I was just thinking. No, I mean the I've heard people talk about what part the main reason the rebuild failed is because they didn't make that final move with a star to put them over the top. You don't you have local heroes. You do have, of course, Luis Robert, who's an MVP candidate. But if you had the next level star, if you have multiple stars like that instead of solid players here that are inconsistent, that I guess that argument would be in two ways. You'd have star power to draw people out, and you'd be winning more games. You would have completed
Maybe.
the rebuild. Well,
But
everything's a maybe, but
well, it is a maybe. Look at the San Diego. Look at San Diego and the New York Mets. They have $300 million plus payrolls. They have Manny
yeah,
Machado and the Padres. They can't fucking win shit.
they also and they have Fernando Tatis. So you could argue that it doesn't even matter if they built through the system too. So I guess it goes in a lot of directions, but I don't know. I don't know how I don't think we're going to solve the White Sox issues on this podcast, but
Yeah,
I just thought it was interesting. Different ways I've heard kind of the same argument, but they kind of dovetailed with the attendance versus winning versus the putting the final touches on the rebuild with a major star.
yeah, and there's reports that they went after certain pitchers, not necessarily position players with but they went after certain pitchers who chose not to come here with equal offers. We all know the Machado offer was bullshit, but the other offers they made, I can't remember the names of a couple of those pitchers, but it was like in the $30 million a year range. So I don't know. Like it is what it is. We're just the reality of the situation is Rick Hahn is ultimately to blame. He's also ultimately to blame for the managerial choice of Pedro Grifol and his flush it. And the reason I'm annoyed about that is I thought Bruce Bochy was a legitimate candidate. And look what the fuck he's done. The
That's
Texas Rangers with essentially the same team because Jacob deGrom in his normal fashion is out for the rest of the fucking year because he can't keep his arm healthy. They were 68 and 94 last year. They have the same team. They have almost a 600 winning percentage right now and are leading the AL West with a different manager.
They also spent outrageous amounts of money last year that didn't work out. Now it's working this year. But Bochy was the part that pushed him over the top. Clearly,
that's what I'm saying. Those guys
have firsthand knowledge of his powers as being a Giants fan all these years. So
yes, but we get Pedro Grifol because he can speak the language of the players. What?
Yeah, we should have talked about that a lot more before that decision was made because Bochy was out there. He was voicing. He made it very public that he wanted to get back into baseball. Wasn't he kind of pushed out of the Giants, or did he?
No,
he
said he was just kind of he wanted to take a break.
Okay.
I don't think he was. I don't see any reason why they would have pushed him out, but I don't know.
But I just remember hearing for years before he did finally join the Rangers that he wanted to get back into baseball. So yeah, you wonder how the revolving doors of history, how things would be different if Rick Hahn had a fancy for Bruce Bochy. Although at the time, I could see people making the argument we just had an old manager that didn't know what he was doing.
I think that was the fucking argument was, but you had an old manager who was out of touch.
Yeah. And he was also 10 years out of the game. Bochy was not out for that long. So
and Bochy also is younger than La Russa too. I think by like 10 years, but he's in his
is it that much?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. Or maybe it's only like 4 or 5 years, but he's definitely a little bit younger than La Russa. So it's like, that's on Rick Hahn. He got his guy, Pedro Grifol. I'm not saying Pedro Grifol, he says all the right things, and if the coaching staff's doing what has been projected, then it is on the players. I mean, the players are not doing what's being asked of them, which is what we talked about last week. Is it the players? Is it the manager? I don't know, but this is what I will say. You had a 68 and 94 team with star players.
A lot of players there, yeah. I think you've got a
Now
lot of
they're
players on this
58.
roster
Yes, we
that are
do.
underperforming. So
Right. We got 58 and 39 right now. You're dominating the AL West. Probably going to keep the Astros at bay. I mean, that's insane.
yeah, that's gonna be. God, I hate both those teams, and I'm gonna find that division race interesting to watch going down the stretch here. So
Yeah.
Word Hole Media.